ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
Elmore deep, left side three is good! From 30 feet, John Elmore!
The Drive with Paul Swann.
Welcome into the Friday, February 8th edition. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Okay, we got to get into it. This is no dancing around it. Marshall got beat. Got his butt kicked. Not as bad as we've seen, but still, Marshall got his butt kicked last night. Marshall lost to North Texas 78-51, so we're already focusing on the next game. Herd fell to 13-11, 6-5 in Conference USA. North Texas, meanwhile, improved to 20-4. They're now 8-3 in conference play. Marshall had a 5-1 record against North Texas. That's now 5-2. So the Herds got to take on Rice on Saturday. That should be an interesting contest because they gave Western Kentucky everything they wanted, and Western Kentucky gave it right back. We'll talk about that game later. Of course, it just wasn't pretty for the Thundering Herd. You look at the numbers here, and Marshall really didn't get anything from the big two. C.J. Burks had 9 points. He was 3 of 15 shooting, 1 of 4 from the three-point line, hit both of his free throws. He was out there 36 minutes. John Elmore, he sat a while. He had 4 points, 1 of 7 shooting. He missed all 3 of his three-point attempts. Both his free throws went in, had 4 rebounds, he had an assist, had a turnover as well, had a steal. So he's out there a total of 24 minutes. Rondell Watson, he's out there for 22 minutes. You get 11 points out of him. Tavion Kinsey's out there 37 minutes. You get 18 points from him. Jansen Williams, 6 points. 22 minutes, 6 points. Jared West, 3 points. Jared, of course, again, not your high-octane scorer. He was 0 of 3 from the field, missed his only three-pointer. Hit all 3 of his free throws, came up with 4 rebounds. He had a couple of steals as well. I don't know what to tell you. I can tell you this, though. You look at the numbers, Marshall shot 16 of 57. That's the first number you highlight right there because you're not going to win too many games if you're shooting 16 of 57. You were 5 of 24 from the three-point line. For the game, Marshall shot 28.1%. Now, their shooting got a little bit better in the second half. In that first half, they were 8 of 33. That's good enough for 24%. In that second half, 8 of 24, and that's good enough for 33%. So it improved in the second half as far as the production. They got 24 shots, less than what they take, and the same amount of baskets went in. 3 of 8 from the three-point line, as compared to 2 of 16 from that first half. 2 of 16 first half, 13%. Second half, they shot 38% from the three-point line. Free throws were really solid, 14 of 16 there, no complaints. North Texas, on the other hand, had 4 guys in double digits. They shot 15 of 36 in that first half for 42%. Up that a little bit, 16 of 34 in the second half, 47%. So they walk away 31 of 70. Shooting 44.3%. Here's the number you circle. Their three-point shooting percentage, 42.9%. 12 of 28, 4 of 11 in that first half for 36%. 8 of 17 in that second half for 47%. Free throws really didn't matter. They were 4 of 10 there. And you look at the hustle points. In the paint, they outscored the Thundering Herd in the paint, 34-16. Points off turnovers, it's about push, but still, you win that battle 13-12 if you're North Texas. Second chance points, 17-5 in favor of North Texas. Fast break points in favor of North Texas. Then the bench, Marshall brought its bench out a little bit more, 11-0 there. So you had a combination, poor shooting, got out-rebounded, 55-30. They had more assists as well. Beat you in the turnover battle, 13-10. You did have 4 blocks. Marshall did have 4 blocks. I can circle that as a positive. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know where you go from here. Can't use the road as an excuse. That's not a viable excuse. You can't use the travel. It's not valid. So what does Marshall do now? Well, they rebound. They head to Rice, try to get a win there because we're getting close to the pod locking, and that's what's going to be important. You're going to be either in the first pod or the second pod. If you're in the first pod, you can improve your resume. At this point, though, you're playing to win the conference tournament. That's it. You're playing to win the conference tournament. NIT's probably not happening unless you win the regular season. I don't know how Marshall's going to be able to pull that one off. There might be enough games, but there's some good teams ahead of them, so I don't know. NCAA tournament still always on the table just because you've got the tournament itself. You win the conference tournament, everything goes away. All the mistakes, all the problems, everything goes away. You get into the tournament. So that's the goal. I get it. No time to panic just yet, but can't feel really good about this one. I don't have anything positive to say. I'm not going to tear these guys down, but at the same time, I don't have anything other than Tavion Kinsey. I will say that. Good performance from him. Rondale Watson, I love his game. 11 points out of him, 3 of 6, 1 of 2 from the three-point line, 4 of 4 from the free throw line. He pulled down 4 rebounds. He was playing with 4 fouls. Threw in an assist to his stat line. Got a steal as well. I liked his box score. I liked Kinsey's box score. 18 points. We mentioned 7 of 13. 1 of 4 from the three-point line, 3 of 5. Well, it would have been great if he had had 15 opportunities at the free throw line. 3 of 5. Also, 5 rebounds. Not bad. 37 minutes of action, 18 points. I liked his game. I really did. I hate it for John Elmore. He's a much better player than 4 points. He's more talented than 4 points. I hate it for C.J. Burke because he's more talented than 9 points. But that is what you got out of this performance. Back at it, taking on Rice. We'll have that game on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930, also on 93.7 The Dog. So we've got you covered there. I can say this, though. We've got some good news. It wasn't all bad for the Thundering Herd because the Marshall women won. They are now 8-2 in Conference USA. They beat North Texas yesterday at the Cam Henderson Center 67-55. So they've got a lot going on. They need a big crowd on Saturday. It's a noon contest. They've got Rice coming in. Rice is 19-3, 10-0. Big-time showdown. We'll talk more about that game later on in the program because I've got last night's interview with Tony Kemper we're going to have for you when we come back from break. Tony, of course, has done, I think, a fantastic job. If you don't think so, you just don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to tell you right now, that guy has worked his tail off. Marshall women's basketball is not the bottom feeder of Conference USA basketball. That might have been the perception. He has changed that perception. He has moved this program forward. Even if they don't win the conference tournament, even if they maybe finish middle of the pack, whatever the case may be, he has really put down a solid foundation to take this program and make it move forward. There's actually, I think, forward progress here with the women's basketball team, and Tony's a big part of that. His players, of course, are responding to him. He's got some pretty good talent on that squad. We'll talk to him about that victory when we come back from break later on. I will tell you this. Later on, I'm looking forward to this interview because I've got Teddy Kluemper joining me on the program, Assistant Athletic Director, Director of Athletic Development. Big Green needs your help. And honestly, if you're not supporting the Big Green and you're a Big Herd fan, you're a Big Herd supporter, and you're not supporting the Big Green, I think you're missing out on some great opportunities because one, you're really helping the university, you're helping the athletic department by supporting the Big Green, and two, they actually do a lot of fun things and a lot of great things as well for the community, and they do get involved a lot with the student athletes. So Teddy's going to join us on this hour. We'll talk to him. So Teddy Kluemper is going to join me, but we'll hear from the head coach of the Marshall women's basketball team, Tony Kemper, when we continue with this edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Buckle up. Paul Swann has the wheel on The Drive, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to the Friday edition of The Drive. I'm your host, Paul Swann, and as I mentioned at the top of the show, we're going to hear from Tony Kemper in just a moment. Marshall's women get the victory over North Texas last night, 67-55, and improving to 8-2 in conference play. We've got a big one on Saturday, taking on Rice at noon. Rice comes into Huntington 10-0 in league play. They're 19-3 overall. This will be a big test for the Thundering Herd. And last night, after the Marshall game, I had a chance to catch up with the head coach of the Thundering Herd, Tony Kemper. Here's his thoughts on the ladies' victory.
We're certainly off to a really good start, and tonight was another good win. And very proud of our group. I think I guess it's no secret where people thought we were going to finish, and that's certainly not where we're going to end up. Who knows? We've got a whole bunch of really good teams left on our schedule, and but I know we're not going to finish 13th, and that's credit to our players, and we've got tremendous senior leadership out of Shayna Gore and Taylor Porter, and their energy levels really driving this team, and everybody around them has picked right up and gotten after it as well. So another good win tonight. looking forward to another challenge on Saturday.
If I've done my math right, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're tied for third right now in league with your 8-2 mark. That's great. That's just fantastic.
That's correct. Yeah, I think Western Kentucky got beat tonight, so we're tied with them for third and fourth, I guess. We're which you guys, everybody knows the tournament because men's success last year, top four get a bye. So we're fighting for certainly something that no one thought that we'd be anywhere near this conversation, and no one thought that this would be a huge game for Rice and for Marshall this late in the year. And we are fighting for things that have not been fought for at Marshall in Conference USA ever, which is, we're playing near the top of the standings this late in the year. That's fun. It's really fun for our girls, and I think, generally we're kind of a small snowball that started rolling down a hill, and now things pretty big, and it's got quite a bit of momentum. So looking forward to watching them compete again on Saturday.
You were pretty efficient tonight. Your squad shot 29 of 49. That's 49%, so almost right at 50%. Same thing for the three-point line, 9 of 19. That's good enough for over 47%. So you really were efficient tonight with the ball compared to North Texas. They were 20 of 61. So not only did they take more, they missed more, and
Yep.
You guys really clamped down on them.
Yeah, I think it does start with defense. Our we set the tone in the first quarter that it wasn't going to be an easy night for them on their offensive end, and I think that's how we've won games this year. Our defense is pretty good. Number one, it's much improved over what we were a year ago, and that I think it's so important. And one of the things that I want to establish in our women's basketball program is that when you come to Huntington, it's a really, really tough place to win, and that starts on the defensive end. And if you make it tough on them when they first get off the bus, and they think it's going to be hard around the basket, and you're challenging them for rebounds and every shot and stuff like that, then it's hard for people to get in the rhythm. It's hard for people to feel good, and I think that's been a formula that especially at times when we played our better games. Old Dominion, that was the same thing. We really hit them early. Tonight, our first quarter was very, very good. Now, that's a good basketball team with really good players, and they kind of counterpunched and stuff. But they, then down the stretch, they didn't score a field goal for the last 8:25 of the game. They got a couple free throws, but down the stretch, I think some of that's our credit to our defense. We had frustrated them around the rim, and they couldn't get anything easy. And then you put together a stretch that ultimately wins the game, like we did at the end. So I think it starts with defense, and then if you look at Shayna Gore's line, and it's tremendous. She had 25 points and 9 assists, so she was responsible for at least 47 points tonight. And when she plays like that, our team is very, very good on offense, meaning when she's very capable of getting other people's shots that they can be highly successful at, and that's what she was doing tonight. And she also had her stroke going. So, when we move the ball, we're a pretty good offensive group, and I think you look at the numbers tonight, they say we, controlled the game pretty well on both ends.
Paul Swann, your host, joined by Marshall University women's basketball coach Tony Kemper. The Thundering Herd victorious tonight over North Texas, 67-55. And you mentioned Shayna Gore's line, 25 points, 9 of 17, 4 of 9 from the three-point line, 3 of 4 from the free throw line. She had 5 rebounds, 9 assists, as you mentioned. Also had a block and 4 steals. So, yeah, she had a great line tonight.
Yeah, she was really good. And she's cementing herself as one of the best ever play here. And the numbers have always been there for her. She's helping this team win a lot of games, and that I think that is a separator for her. That's what she needed to do was, okay, now how do I take what I'm capable of and help turn it into wins for Marshall? And she's in a very good stretch of doing that for us. So very, very proud of her. She's special. And if you haven't been out to see her, you've got a great opportunity. I don't know what people are doing on Saturday at noon, but get to the Henderson Center. This team deserves to have you in there, and we are playing the best team in our league. It's a fantastic women's basketball team. They've got very, very good talent. They're very well coached. We're going to have to be very, very good to have a shot at the end, and I know that our team is very excited to to take the floor on Saturday.
Yeah, that's a moment where you get to make a statement. They're undefeated in league play. They come in here. You've got them all to yourself on Saturday. How do you keep your team focused and excited at the same time?
They'll be ready. I mean, this group will be ready. They understand that they've got a lot to prove. They're excited about doing that every time. I think that when the ball's tipped up, it really hasn't mattered. Our group has been ready for the challenge. They've been ready for the fight, and Saturday's not going to be any different. They'll be level-headed, and they'll be ready to play. And it's going to start on the defensive end, and we'll see where it goes. This team, Rice defensively, basically nobody's been out of the 40s on them in conference play. So you have really got to guard them in order to have a chance. And then we're going to have to find some ways to get creative on the offensive end to try to get us some shots we can make. I know schematically as a coach, I'm really looking forward to the challenge of trying to figure it out. They certainly are. They're very well put together, and they do a great job. So it's a huge challenge for us all, and I know one we're really looking forward to.
Okay, so what's going to probably happen Saturday is Shane is going to have 5, Pearson's going to have 20, Khadijah Brooks is probably going to have 15. Is that what you're talking about as far as just surprise them completely?
Well, I think that, we're going to have to move the ball, and I think that's, when you look at what Shayna got done tonight, I mean, it's going to get increasingly difficult for her to, run around free and easy. And that's not to say that North Texas didn't try to take her out of her game, but, I think you look at her line and you look at everybody else, and I think we had 6 players between 6 and 10, so there's plenty of capable people on this basketball team, and we've got to help them, put them in the right spots. And then, to win a game of this caliber, you have to step up and you got to stick some shots. And that's no secret. That's basketball, and I know we're fully capable. We just got to work on the scheme a little bit, and we got to be ready when our opportunity comes.
Need a big crowd on Saturday. You had a good crowd tonight. Need a big crowd on Saturday for Rice.
I would love it. I mean, I would love it. And this group, I don't talk a big game, and I don't tell you things that aren't true. This group deserves to have you there Saturday. If you're free, we start at noon, so you'll have most of your day back when you're done. But get in here, wear your green, and be loud. Support them. My wife just told me it's white out, Paul, so we need to be in white on Saturday.
Okay, so no green, white. Wear complete white outfits for the game. Okay, I'm glad she's on the ball tonight.
She is. She yells at me often, and she just did. I thought she was asleep, but she's not. She knows what color to wear. So that's a team organization, even at home. We're all pulled in the same direction.
Congratulations. It's been a fun ride so far. Can't wait to see what happens the rest of the way. But big one coming up on Saturday. Let's hope we get you a big crowd to support the Herd and get you a victory on Saturday.
Thanks, Paul. Really appreciate you having me on.
Once again, that's my interview last night of Tony Kemper after the victory. Marshall getting the win over North Texas, 67-55. The women back in action on Saturday, taking on Rice noon at the Cam Henderson Center. Teddy Kluemper is going to join us from the Big Green when we continue with this edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to the Friday edition. The Drive continues on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. So we've got a pretty busy Saturday to talk about, and we've also got several things that are coming up. And since there's so much to talk about, I figured it's time to bring an expert onto the program on all things Big Green. That's why we welcome to the program now. Not only is he my sports arch enemy when it comes to most of our professional sports, and I'll just leave it at that, only because the Browns beat the Bengals this year. That's not going to happen again. He's also, it's not going to happen. I'm just going to tell you that right now. It's not going to happen. Teddy Kluemper joins us on the program, Director of Athletic Development. Of course, the Big Green does a lot of great things for the Thundering Herd and a vital mission for Marshall Athletics. He joins us on the program now, and I'm glad you and I can come together for something important like the Big Green because pro football, we can't get along.
We cannot, but you're right, and I'm happy to be on your show, and I appreciate you having me.
So, first of all, let's talk about tomorrow. We've got a big game for the Thundering Herd. The ladies are taking on Rice, and that's really a statement game if Marshall can win that to take out the top team in Conference USA, and that's a long time coming for Coach Kemper. His squad has battled hard, and you're right there with them. The Big Green, you're just not there at to certain events. You are there in support of all Herd athletics, no matter what the sport is, what day it is. There's always somebody from the Big Green there.
Well, we get, as working for the Big Green, we have the opportunity to get around these coaches probably a little bit more than others do. And I can't tell you that they do not come any better than Tony Kemper. And to see the way they started and where they are now is kind of a testament to how he is as a coach and how he runs his program. But they're 8-2 in the conference, and right in line for a bye in the conference tournament in Frisco, which I think is fantastic how they've got it laid out there at the Star. And I'm sure he's excited to get going tomorrow, as we all are. Games at noon. I know that a lot of the games on Saturdays, the women that they've had have been at 1 o'clock. The games at noon, and it's a whiteout. I want to make sure that everyone knows that. And I'm pretty sure that if you wear white, discounted tickets $2. So if it's not $2, then you can blame me. But I'm pretty sure whiteout. Discounted tickets tomorrow for $2 and get out and support the kids because they're playing awesome.
I think I'm going to have to check in with Coach Kemper's wife because if you didn't hear her, well, not her interview, but her yelling at Tony last night, and we played it back a few minutes ago. We said wear green, and then she yelled, "No, it's a whiteout." So the word is getting out. Wear your white for Saturday, and that should be fun just to see that atmosphere for two of the top teams in Conference USA. The women really are what the Big Green's all about. I mean, sure, football and men's basketball, those are important, vital parts of the athletic department, but you're there battling to make sure that Marshall has a women's basketball team, has a softball team, has a tennis team, and everything else that goes along with it.
Well, our mission, and we're charged with raising the money to defray the cost of athletic scholarships for all of our 380 student athletes, regardless of what sport they play. And it's a tall task. And, the more the Big Green raises, which is, on all of us, the more that frees up the athletic department to do facilities and upgrades and things like that. So we're excited to get 2019 going, and I know that when we talk, that this kind of easily transitions into our drive for 35 that we're kicking off. But 3,500 members is where we need to be to really support our student athletes and provide our administrators the funds that they need to do what they need to do. We've had over 3,000 members for 4 of the last 5 years, once of those exceeding 3,300. So it's well in range to get 35. We just need to get over the hump and, many folks as they can to support. We hear all the time that people love supporting Marshall athletics. Buy tickets, join the Big Green, $60 a month, $60 a year, $5 a month. That's all it takes to be a member of the Big Green. So, and what you get in Herd Perks, which is our membership card that folks get when they join the Big Green, discounts is 70 retailers throughout the tri-state region with discounts up to 15%. I'm terrible at math, but if you did that at all those retailers, that far exceeds the $60 annually.
I always tell people that if you complain about things that Marshall doesn't have, there's a real easy solution. I don't tell people what to do with their money, but if there's something you're not happy about, you want to see Marshall grow in some avenues, it's going to cost you, and you've made it affordable, and you've got so many reasons why that people can get their membership as low as $60 and be a part of the Herd, support the program, get lots of benefits. But how important, I don't know if people really realize that this is the lifeblood of the athletic department. Without the Big Green, I mean, you might not have what we have today for Marshall athletics, indoor facility, a new scoreboard, all the perks that come with that. The Big Green's hand is in everything, making really athletics feasible at Marshall University.
Well, we're privileged to touch, all fundraising dollars that come to the athletic department, but, with Mr. Hamrick's leadership at the top and all the way down, we've got great people that work here, not just in Big Green, because we have great people in Big Green. John Sutherland, who leads this department, who is in Frisco with the men's team, but, he sets a tone for us. But like I said, the leadership throughout the athletic department is great. And we touch every fundraising dollar that comes in, regardless if it's a booster club, capital fund, or the annual fund. But we have made it affordable, Paul. And I think for so many years it was deemed, well, you had to give big money to get seats. But becoming a Big Green member allows you to do so many things. And I challenge everyone to hop on, the Herd Zone website and simply check out the levels of benefits. Don't take what I say, just see what we put in writing of all the things that people can receive and be privy to, for being an annual member of the Big Green.
What do you think the biggest challenge is for you on a yearly basis? Because I know it's tough financially for a lot of people, and you try to make it as affordable as possible for everyone to get involved. But in growing membership, this drive for 35, what are your biggest challenges, and what can we do to maybe help you overcome some of those?
Well, naturally, I think athletic departments throughout the country will say that retention is the biggest issue. And what's odd is, and it's a testament to the community that we have here, and it's a testament to those that are so immersed and involved and support this program. Retention's really not an issue. It's reaching out and finding, the folks on the peripheral that, maybe have wanted to support or just simply didn't know how, or simply, have attended games but not supported, taking that next step, challenging people to get involved. And, just with anything, Big Green has changed throughout the years, and we've gotten better, and we've tried many things, but just adding new folks. So, like I said, our retention, our donor base is so strong, and there are so many people who support us at a really high level as it is. Just imagine what we could do if we added to that, So that's our biggest challenge.
You've got several events, of course, not just in the area, but you're going all across the tri-state, across West Virginia. I know you've got something coming up in Gallipolis that's taking place, and as well as the Valentine's Day dance. That's coming up as well. So what are some of the events maybe that the Herd fans need to know about or don't know about?
Absolutely. We have 14 chapters throughout the United States, really, as far south as Atlanta and as far north as, Columbus and everywhere in between. And the folks in Meigs, Gallia, and Mason County, we call them the MGM chapter, they host an annual football dinner and signing day party. And I know that obviously signing day was, is in the rear view, but it gives those folks in those areas opportunities to hear from the Coach Holliday and his staff, it's a really cool event to hear, again, not only from Coach Holliday, but from all of the new additions and, all the coaches that are there. They're the ones that went out and recruited these kids. They're the ones that sat in homes and talked to families and got these kids to come to school and to hear them share these stories and, to hear them say why they loved, Paul Swann and, what made Paul Swann, great at his position. It's really cool to hear. And that's at Courtside Bar and Grill, 6 p.m. on Monday, which is in Gallipolis. I'm not sure if I said that. And then next Saturday, the Charleston Quarterback Club puts on an annual Valentine's Day dance. And it's at the brand new Charleston, I guess not brand new, newly renovated Charleston Coliseum and Convention Center. 6:30. I know tickets are still available for that as well. But again, gives folks in the Charleston area, Taze Valley, Herc, and everywhere in between, past Charleston, to come and mingle with Doc and his staff. And it's kind of the last, get together for those guys before they start, spring ball, not before too long. So besides that, then we go right into conference tournament, and baseball plays against Virginia Tech in Charleston and WVU in Charleston. And I think that's late March, the 20th and 27th, respectively. So,
how big are these outside events? I know going to Charleston is key because there are a lot of fans and a lot of alumni. How much growth have you seen, not just in Huntington, but outside the area? Because maybe that's always been the challenge is you've got great Herd fans, but you don't have enough of them. It's probably just going out and finding them. That's probably the challenge.
I mean, yeah, great. I mean, it just speaks to what you asked me a minute ago, what the biggest challenge of Big Green is. And that's how we attempt to, really solve it by, again, being prominent in areas. We know, that we can't grow unless we continue to, go out and, see folks and talk to folks. So to your point, or to your question rather, these events help inoculate people that may not otherwise know about Big Green to the Big Green and what we do.
Do you find that still is something that maybe a lot of Herd fans don't know about? That I know with students, first-time attendees at Marshall games, for the most part, they don't know. But are you still finding that that's something that's prevalent, that maybe fans just don't know you're there, what you do, and that they're available to them?
Somewhat. I every year, we'll have an event, that someone comes up to me and or any of our staff or to John or the rest of us will say, I didn't realize that Big Green did that. I think everyone knows that, the money goes somewhere, but I think when you put faces, if people ask me all the time what the most, important part of development is, or why development's hard, or what development is, it's relationships. So putting a face with a name and seeing that, hey, these folks that work here, we're out, and it's not about us. It's raising the money for the 380 student athletes at the 10 Marshall that everyone loves, that everyone's proud of. We've seen what happens when our teams have success. We see the support. We see how people, come out in droves. So it's just identifying that, yes, it's Big Green's behind the machine that's raising the money for these kids.
Joining us on the program, he's Assistant Athletic Director, Director of Athletic Development, part of the Big Green, Tony Kemper with us. Also notorious Cleveland Browns fan, but we do like the Cavaliers, so we do share that. I can't vouch for the Indians, though. I can't go that far. But the Cavaliers, that's our common ground. And Marshall, of course. I'll give you that.
The Indians are hurting because if I read correctly, Lindor's out till the start of the season, so that's going to hurt. They weren't very deep anyway, and then I know that you, being a Bengals fan, and all the Bengals fans out there are going to be real familiar with number 6 that plays for the Browns. So I'm
looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun this season. I didn't think that the Browns could make such a turnaround after getting rid of Hugh Jackson, but it happened. You should have done that sooner.
It did, and I think that Freddie Kitchens is exactly what the Browns needed. I think that I think he's exceptional, and we've been not very good for a very long time, so we've acquired some young talent, and I think that the Browns are right there, ready to go, and we should have had the Rookie of the Year behind center, but I won't talk about that because I think he got hosed.
Of course, one awards benefit that I know people don't get hosed at is the Big Green Dinner. The awards, everything there, nobody gets hosed, right? Everybody goes home winning.
No, absolutely, and we model that off of the ESPYs, but the Herdspies, we for many years the Big Green Dinner was synonymous with big name speakers. We've had everyone from Steve Spurrier to Lee Corso to Dennis Green to as recent as Herm Edwards, and those are great, and they absolutely bring people to the venue that we have the dinner at, and it absolutely raises critical funds for us. But the one thing that it lacks when we have a big speaker like that is it takes the emphasis off of what we've done the last couple of years, and again showcasing our student athletes. Last year it was our featured speaker was the 2017 Conference USA champions, and the unreal ride really that Coach D'Antoni and that crew went on, and it was and not just that, but the accolades that swimming had had, and all of the 380 student athletes. That's a night that we get to have to showcase all of them, all of their accomplishments. We have the play of the year, the moment of the year, the male athlete of the year, the female athlete of the year. We actually put those videos out, so you can stay tuned, and I'm sure that you and I will talk between then and now, and make sure folks know that those are out. Get out, vote, and then come to the dinner. It's a casual event, business casual event where people can really it's one night that we get to showcase our kids.
So if anyone's listening right now, where do you want them to go to start? They've listened to you, they've heard your plea. They're like, you know what, I need to be a part of the Big Green. Where do you want me to send them? Well,
the easiest place is herdzone.com, and then off of herdzone.com, there's right there on the site, it says giving. And once you click it and go to the giving page, go to the Big Green page, it says join the Big Green now, and click and walk through it. And then we also have app, another campaign online giving vehicle called Give Campus. GiveCampus.com. Search Big Green, Marshall University. It takes you right there. You can give online, just as you would a GoFundMe drive, or just as you'd make a PayPal transaction. So we've done everything we can to make it super simple.
Okay, we're going to go at it here in a few months. So we got the Combine coming up. Our rivalry will continue on the pro side, but let's hope we can get you some members here and get you up to 3,500. That would be huge, I think, for the Big Green.
Yes, and another event that I would be completely forgot my train of thought there. I would be forgetful in mentioning is April 13th, Masters Saturday. So after Tiger and everyone else is in the barn for the evening, 7 o'clock, St. Mary's Convention Center will be the men's basketball senior awards banquet. And I think it's pretty safe to say that we have not seen the likes of John Elmore, Rondale Watson, C.J. Burks, and Christian Tinneman in a long time. And, it might be a while before we see, 3 or 4 of those kids come through here again. And it's going to be a great night to celebrate them and to send them off and on their way. And, those 4 individuals specifically have, really represented this program well. And I know that Coach D'Antoni effuses over them every time, that he talks. So, big night for us at the men's basketball banquet. They can call our office, 696-4661, 1-800-THE-HERD, Big Green, MUBiggreen.com. All of our information's on there and purchase tickets.
All right. I think you got everything. Let's hope that Elmore drops 35 tomorrow, CJ 35. Let's hope that we get 4 or 5 double-digit scores and win against Rice. That's my hope for you. Absolutely. And me.
Absolutely. They'll get out of it and get home here. And I'm interested to see how the pod scheduling works out and where it all stands when the smoke clears. I think it's exciting.
Teddy Kluemper, our guest, Assistant Athletic Director, Director of Athletic Development. Marshall needs your help, and he's the guy at the Big Green who can help you help the herd. Thanks, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Paul.
Teddy Kluemper, our guest. We're going to take our final break, come back, and wrap it up. It's The Drive, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Now, back to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Thanks for tuning in to tonight's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Don't forget, if you missed any part of the program tonight, you can go back and catch it. All you have to do is subscribe on Apple Podcasts. We're on Stitcher Radio. We're on TuneIn, Spotify. All great platforms. Wherever you get your podcast is where we're at. And, of course, if you subscribe, sometimes, I'm just telling you, sometimes there's a special gift just for you. If you're not paying attention, all of a sudden you get a notification. There's an interview that you didn't hear on the program live or during the regular podcast. Well, all you have to do is subscribe to the podcast, and sometimes, and I mean sometimes, you'll get something special and extra just for you. All right, coming up tomorrow, we're going to be back here for our pregame coverage of Marshall taking on Rice. We'll go on the air. 6:30 is going to be our airtime. That's coming up tomorrow. You can, of course, catch the game right here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Also on 93.7 The Dog, and then we will tip things off 8 o'clock. Steve Cotton will have the call right after the game. Right back here for our pregame and postgame coverage. Right here, pregame, postgame, right here. And that's going to do it for this edition. I want to thank my guest, Teddy Kluemper. Appreciate him coming in from the Big Green to tell us a little bit more about what's going on with them. I'm looking forward to having those guys back on soon. Also, Tony Kemper, appreciate him for joining us on the program. He was on my postgame yesterday, actually, so glad that we could bring that to you. He usually joins us on the program, especially when there's a herd victory, so looking forward to that. That's going to do it for this edition. Back tomorrow. We'll do it all over again during our pregame. Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Paul Swann. This has been The Drive, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Good night, everyone.
Huntington, W227BS Huntington, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Huntington Sports Station.